life update. I've been doing my driver license. Also grew a small goatee beard. I've been trying to come back to YouTube and documentation and stuff like that. But I've just became a little bit lazy, if I'm being honest. Here's me just taking accountability for my laziness. For the past month or so, I've not really been that focused on documentation or fat loss or anything like that. I've just been focused on getting my driver license here in Germany because it's harder than people think. Over in the US, it's just child's play. It's nothing. Here in Germany, it costs 10 times the price. It's much more difficult and stuff like that. I still haven't got 100% of the license, but I just passed the theory test. My practical test is about to be in a week or two or something like that. Right now I'm just getting back to fat loss. I've almost tracked everything when it comes to my journey. I've tracked how many steps I've done almost every single day. I have tracked the protein, I have tracked the calories, I've tracked everything. So when I screenshotted everything that I had tracked from Notion, from Google Sheets, and I put it into Claude, and I asked it, what period of time was I the most consistent and how can I replicate it back again? And these are the three things that came up. Okay, number one, it was 1800 calories, the average of what I should be eating every single day. The thing that I'm the most consistent on is 1800 calories, 10,000 steps, and 130 grams of protein. Why the protein is so important is because it keeps me satiated, and that will counter binge eating at nighttime. Okay, or even eating more than usual, because if you're filled up and you feel sufficient enough, you're not gonna binge eat. So I'm getting back into it, but there's just this feeling of wanting to get this over with much faster, because I've been thinking again, I've been doing this for such a long time. How long has it been? It's almost 2 years. It's about to become 2 years. In 2 months, 3 months, or in a month, it's gonna become a 2-year journey of me just trying to lose weight and not being able to get a six-pack. It's been a long time. And even after losing 32 pounds, I still have this feeling of yes, try to go faster. You should be doing 15 to 20k steps every single day. You should lower the calories more. You should do this more. Why? Because when it's summertime and you and your family go to the beach, you can take your shirt off and people will look at you and they'll be impressed. What people? Strangers? Some family member who doesn't really care that much about that? Girls? Who are you trying to impress? That's what I don't get. And I've been getting these thoughts, but I haven't been acting on them. I'm still gonna keep pursuing consistency rather than intensity. What some of you guys are doing is you're just trusting that thought, and you're just going with it, and you're yeah, I'm gonna get it fast. I'm gonna get this shit done with. I don't want to end up like this guy who's talking right here. I don't want to be on a 2-year journey. You know why it took 2 years for me to lose 32 pounds? Because I kept trusting that feeling, that thought of, yeah, get it faster. It's a trap. I'm telling you. The faster you want to get it, and the faster you try to get it, the earlier you're going to burn yourself out, the less fun the fat loss journey is going to become, and the more eager you're going to be to end it quickly. That's how it goes. If you just go extreme and you make this journey a lot more difficult than it is right now for you, I'm telling you, look, bro, okay, real talk for now. If you're someone who has already gotten a six-pack before and now you're overweight, go for that extreme route. You can do it. You already have gotten a six-pack, you know, you already know your thing. Go do whatever you can, experiment, try new things. But if you're an overweight to obese guy, you gotta lose like 50 pounds. You probably think you gotta lose like 20 pounds. You gotta lose like 50 pounds, right? 50 to 100 pounds, even more than that. It's going to take a long time, okay? And it's probably going to take longer than you think it's going to take. It will take a long time. And trying to make it come quicker, the results, the six-pack, the validation, all that shit, is just going to like mess it all up. I'm telling you, it's gonna mess it all up for you guys. That's why I see so many people, like, I never see those people again. I see people in the gym on the treadmills. I see them running, and it's not like, oh, it's an athlete, he's running, you know, or he's training for a marathon. It's like these fat guys who come in, who put it on an incline and they start running, or they start to like put it on a pace that's like very, very fast. And I'm always the last guy to like leave the treadmills, you know, because I have to do it for like 45 minutes or something like that here and there if I'm trying to hit like 10k steps. But it's still like the next day I never see these people. I never see these people again on the treadmill. Maybe they're consistent, but it's like for most people, they're never gonna stay consistent on that path. If you're not inside of a flow, if the challenge doesn't excite you, if the time isn't passing quickly, you're probably going on this overkill mode that's just gonna burn you out so much quicker than you think. I've made this mistake countless times in my life, and I've always thought, this time's gonna work, this time's gonna work, this time's it's gonna work. Oh shit, you know, it's not been that I've not been disciplined, it's been because I have not eaten the carnivore diet, I've not been on that diet. Or it's not that I'm not on the carnivore diet, it's because these estrogenics are messing with my hormones, and that's why my testosterone is low, and that's why I'm not being disciplined. You know, there's gonna be so many shiny object syndromes, there's gonna be so many like opportunities thrown at you all the time that will make you think that, oh, you're not losing weight fast enough because of this one thing, because of this one thing. And then they're gonna try to like sell you a shitty course on that or a shitty PDF, and you're gonna buy it and you're gonna feel scammed because it doesn't apply to your life. You know, you can lose weight on a carnivore diet. You can lose weight on a keto diet. You can lose weight if you are going on a treadmill and you're running, you know, hardcore mode. You can lose weight if you're on the extreme path. I've never been the guy who says, oh, you can't lose weight on an extreme path. You can. But can you stick with it? Can you stick with it? Or can you be the guy who can be extreme for a short period of time without burning themselves out, so that you don't mess yourself up to the point where you're binge eating again? Can you be that guy? Can you control yourself? It's all about controlling oneself, okay? Because people's egos are so big nowadays, and for me as well. Like, I've made this mistake the most. My ego was so big. I thought that I could lose weight and like lose all of the weight that I had in like 2.5 months to 3 months. And AI will tell you the same thing, okay? If you keep asking AI all the time, like, oh, if I do this many steps and eat this many calories per day, how much time is going to take me to lose this amount of weight? And it's probably going to tell you like 2 to 3 months. It's always going to tell you 2 to 3 months. It will probably be like 5 to 6 months, man. I'm telling you, because there's going to be a lot of ups and downs, okay? This shit takes time. But the upside of that is that time will pass anyway. Okay, time will pass anyway. Do not let yourself get discouraged by all those transformations that you see on Instagram Reels or TikTok or whatever. Okay? They're mostly exaggerated. Most of them are actually exaggerated. Like coming from a guy who's lost 25 pounds and like in the last 7 months and 32 pounds in total inside of this 2 year period. I'm telling you, bro, most of it is just like very, very exaggerated. They don't look as good as they are making themselves inside of the videos. Most of it's like very good lighting, and the difference isn't even that big. I'm telling you, like I've lost 25 pounds. I've gained a little bit of pounds in the last month because I was focused on the driving license, but still, it doesn't really make that much of a difference. Okay, your life doesn't significantly change. If you're someone who has to lose like 30 pounds maximum, it doesn't make a difference to your life. If it's like 100 pounds, okay, will make a little bit more difference, but still, your emotional problems are not going to get solved by losing weight. These are all the things that nobody actually tells you, okay? No fat loss coach is going to come in and tell you, yeah, your life problems are not going to get solved by losing weight. Because it's the truth. It is a reality. All of the problems that we're facing when it comes to fat loss is just internal problems. And most of it's just like perspective. We're just operating on a low frequency. The other day I heard this theory. I think it was called something like Belinda Carlisle theory or something, where it says it's this singer who has a song, and she sings like she says heaven is a place on earth. And I think that's very true. Even though I'm a very religious guy, I still feel like, you know, it's a symbolic thing to say, because I have this relative, right? I'm not gonna mention their name, but whenever I talk to them or I hear from them, they're always sad. They're always sad. They're always facing some kind of like problem that's messing up their entire lives, and they're stressed about it all the time. And you probably know someone like this in your life as well. But it's like every single time it's like this. Every single time, no matter like, and their life isn't even that bad. It's like, I think it's low-end middle class, right? They're not even poor. They have money. They have nice clothes. They're not on the street. They don't really have, they don't have to worry about rent or something like that. Paying rent next month, or they don't have the money for it. But still, all of the time they're just stressed about small little family problems or issues or stuff like that. That person has made their reality hell, because they're always operating on this low frequency state where, you know, that chart, that frequencies chart, if you Google it, it says all those emotions that are listed. You know, enlightenment is the highest emotion that one can achieve. I don't really even know that much about it, but when it comes to joy, when it comes to you know, feeling peace, things like that, that's like a high frequency state. And whenever I'm here, I'm in a high frequency state. But if you are on a fat loss journey and you're constantly operating on a low frequency state, like I saw a video from this guy who was, I think he was almost obese, and he was inside of a car and he was crying about, you know, it's so hard, I have to lose weight. It's like, I don't think I'm ever gonna be able to lose it. I always keep going on these cycles and stuff like that, you know, this binge eating cycles, and losing weight is hard. It's hard because they've made it hard inside of their head. There could be two options. They've either made it very hard when it comes to the activities that they're doing, so they're doing too much. And even if they're not doing that, they've made it very hard inside of their head. So what they're mostly doing is that all the stress, all the tension, all of those things are actually the things that ruin the fat loss journey, or make them miserable, rather than like it actually being that bad. Because doing 10k steps per day isn't actually that hard. Being in a 500 calorie deficit isn't actually that hard. Tracking your food, it ain't that hard. It's just doubt, the overthinking, and the worrying and the stress that actually kills it. And the disaster happens when we give our problems too much importance, when we cling on to them, when we try to solve them immediately, when we think that, yeah, if it doesn't get solved right now, I'm going to be in a very bad mood later on. Most problems, this is like a very bad frequency state to be in, because you're operating from scarcity. It's never good to be in a scarcity mindset, okay? When I was in Thailand, the guys that I was with, they weren't like the best friends and all, but one thing that they told me, like, I was on my last $500. I overestimated the amount of money that I needed on the trip. I was on my last $500 and I was like panicking. I was panicking hard. And these guys looked at me and they were like, nobody's gonna like you if you're in a low frequency state like this, bro. Like, stop bitching, bro. That's essentially what they meant. And it's true. It's very true. The one thing that you can take from this video is that stop looking at problems the way that you're looking at them right now. They don't have to be solved, okay? Most problems, they just naturally go away when you try to become consistent, or when you try to make the actions that you're taking every single day more fun. When you reduce the worrying about the steps and just integrate a few thousand steps into your life every single day instead of worrying about it, it becomes fun. Okay, most big problems even, they just go away in like 6 months to a year. If you just think, in 6 months to a year, I'm going to like have a good looking physique, and just try to integrate steps, like I said, and try to eat the same meals every single day, or make the meals that you enjoy eating so that you're consistent with it every single day, and have high protein so that you don't get hungry. Fat loss is going to be enjoyable, man. I'm telling you, fat loss is going to be enjoyable. Or try to experiment with it more and more, and try to like make it so fun for yourself, so good for yourself. For example, these are a few things that I do every single day, okay? I make this exact type of coffee which I like to drink every single morning, and it's like black coffee with a little bit of milk and a little bit of like sugar, and I mix it, and it's like just like normal coffee, right? I used to like make a different version of it. That was why I was thinking about it so much. But for example, listening to like hardcore music, or music that you enjoy during your workouts or whilst walking, just trying to like retard max as much as possible. If you don't understand, retard maxing is just like not thinking that much about anything. Literally, it's just like being chill. It's like the art of being chill. If you want to learn more about that retard maxing term, just like search Elisha Long on YouTube, and you'll find so many videos. Like every single video that he makes is just about retard maxing, bro. And he has gone past like philosophy so much that he's just invented his own kind of like how do I say it? You just have to watch his videos to understand him more, bro. He understands that shit much more. I'm just an observer of his content. One other very important thing, that when I gave to AI in Claude, and I asked it, okay, what were the patterns that you saw? It said that before documentation started, I was on a very consistent path with fat loss. And after documentation started and I started uploading like 15 stories per day, I started focusing so much on the YouTube videos. And I know it seems like I don't really put that much effort into YouTube videos. I don't do that much effort on the YouTube videos, but it's more like I am working on myself. I'm reflecting on myself. But the overall point was that when I started the documentation, it just took over the fat loss. And I stopped committing myself that much to the fat loss, and I started focusing a lot more on the documentation and social media and all that shit. On the reels, on the stories, on making YouTube videos and stuff like that. And my steps were getting lower and lower, and then the calories I got messed up, and then afterwards, bro, every single time I come here, it's like windy. It's windy, and I start like shivering, bro. I'm telling you, like, every single time I come here, it's like windy, bro. It just pisses me off. That's why I'm walking. I don't really like. When I sit, it's too windy over there, bro. But yeah, I'm gonna take a step back from documentation or like uploading that much videos. I haven't really done it in the past. But what made me realize this was focusing on the driver license, you know. If I kept focusing on the fat loss and at the same time focusing on getting my driver license and at the same time uploading videos here on YouTube, documenting everything, it would have been over. It would have been over, man. I would have failed the test, the theory test, and yeah, everything would have been screwed. It's like that image, you know, energy. I don't know if you guys have seen that image where it's like it's a circle and there's arrows. If there's a lot of arrows, the arrows are going to be short. But if there is one arrow or two arrows, they're going to be much longer. Okay? So what it's kind of like saying essentially is that if you focus on one or two things, you are going to excel in those one or two things a lot more than when you're focusing on like 3 big things or 4, 5, 6 big things. Okay, a lot of you guys are probably like focusing on getting a promotion. On top of that, you're trying to lose weight. On top of that, you're trying to improve this other thing inside of your life and this other thing inside of your life. Okay, for me right now, it's just 2 big goals, which is fat loss and getting my driver license. And after that, I'm going to be focusing on the documentation a little bit more. But right now, like, documentation has to get a hit because I gotta lose the weight, man. I gotta lose the weight, man. I don't have any CHD mindset with it, bro, but it's like, yeah, I just have to do it. I just have to like get that 6-pack, man, because it's been like almost 2 years. It doesn't have to be quick. It doesn't have to be quick, you know, but I also have like the driver license or shit like that. But yep, 22-minute video. Hope you got value from it, bro. Hope it solved like a few things inside of your head. I'll see you in the next video, man. Peace.